Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. It's Wednesdays. We're bringing back NSO Game of the Week. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but we're making it official. It's going to be the game we're going to play all of this week, okay? Our game of the week is Metroid Fusion. So we're going to talk about it, discuss it, look at some of its history, and then we're going to play it. This is one that I could not put down when I first got my hands on it, and absolutely loved it. I could not wait for this game when it got announced. I was so excited. Before we jump into it, guys, as always, these streams are powered by Elgato. n64josh.com/Elgato. Use code N64Josh at checkout to save a little bit off of your purchase. If you're thinking about any kind of content creation gear, that's where you want to go. n64josh.com/Elgato. And Black Friday is on its way. There's going to be a lot of sales. I can't say what just yet, but it's some good stuff. So if you've been thinking about upgrading any gear or getting into content creation, now is the time. It is it is literally their biggest sale. They're teasing up to 30% off certain items. So it's gonna be a big one. Looking forward to it. That's it. There we go. It's time to talk about Metroid Fusion. Now, this is from Nintendo's site when they put the game up on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. This is what it says. Left near dead by an attack from the X-Parasite, Samus is saved by a vaccine made from Metroid DNA. The X-Parasite's only natural predator. Now a weakened Samus must exterminate the X as it spreads chaos through a research station orbiting planet SR388. As you explore this deadly facility, collect classic power-ups like the Screw Attack and the Wave Beam to grow stronger. Just be warned, because the X-Parasite can mimic the abilities that it infects, including Samus. If you see a creature called the SAX, perhaps you should run. And so this kind of sets the mood for Metroid Fusion. And I absolutely love Super Metroid. Loved it. It was 8 years, I believe. 8 years? Let me see. Yeah. 8 years after Super Metroid that we got Metroid Fusion. And I had been waiting. I felt like I was waiting forever. I felt like I was waiting forever. And when this finally hit, it came out the same time that Metroid Prime came out. And it was honestly like Metroid Christmas. Let's be real. It was like Metroid Christmas. I want to grab some of these chats here. It says, Joey says, this is the only Metroid game I've put a few hours in, and I like it, honestly. It's good. It's good. But it was back in June, so I'm a little hazy on it. I'm on to The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on Game Boy. I love playing retro titles for the first time. That is so great. I love it. Steak is here. It says, quick stop in before Nintendo Bite to drop a like and say hi. Yo, thank you so much, Steak. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Have fun over with Nate and the crew. Matt says, probably won't play it this week because I played it a few months ago before diving into Dread and Prime Remastered. Very fun. Well, Matt, since you've recently played it, you can still very much be a part of the conversation. So it'll be great to hear from you. I think what we'll do is we will discuss a bit. We'll go into the history, and then next week we'll focus on the what we thought of it, and almost kind of do like a group review, if you will, like a book club. I figure with as much content and stuff that is going out right now, we bring this back as just a way to get some games in and like play the stuff on NSO. You know, that's really my goal here. So Cryptic said, "This is a classic game. Crazy that Nintendo released 2 Metroids on the same day. I know. I wish it was happening on the 4th, right?" Cryptic says, "I know it was not a fan favorite because criticism that it was handheld and you had a lot of the game. You had your handheld for you a lot of the game, and it was more linear." Yes, yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. Matt says, "Nice, Joey. I haven't played Link's Awakening Game Boy version, just the remake. It's fun. I've picked it up. It's good. It's good." Nay, Fusion, way back when you played Metroid to feel alone and isolated. Here's the troll. There's the troll. Joey says, "See, it's kind of why I liked it. I felt like it gave me a little guide." We're gonna talk about that after I say hi to Brandon. What's going on? Good to see you. Just finished Pokemon ZA main story and you loved it. That is awesome. Joey says people are getting turned away from Metroid Prime 4 because the companion, me, it's selling me. Yes. So this is something I have been thinking about since the previews went out for Metroid Prime 4. This is very much a Fusion was very much a step in a modern direction that not all fans loved. I remember not even really liking it as much. I was like, what? Like, this game is making things so much easier. And I feel like they really did a good job with Dread of like finding that happy medium where it was like very updated modern game design that you still had some like waypoints, but you still had plenty to explore. Like they did a really good job like that. I don't remember really ever getting lost in Metroid Fusion. Now, it has been like I played this game when it came out. I beat it, loved it. Haven't really played it much since. I've started it a few times. I was lucky enough to end up. I have two physical copies of Fusion, and the book. I still have the instruction manual for this game. I happened to walk in one day. I believe. I think I walked into a Value Village, and they had a copy of Fusion and Mario Kart Super Circuit for like dirt cheap, and I was like, you know what, I'm definitely taking these. So Nate says, "I don't even care. Let me have interaction here and there. Give me a break from the atmosphere." I'm not super worried about it. I'm not. I'm more than willing to be like, "Hey guys, I was wrong. This game is garbage because it's too much. They didn't, they took it too far." I just don't think that's going to be the case. I don't. I think where Metroid Prime 4 is probably going to have its biggest hangup is potentially people are going to say it feels like an older game and not modern enough. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be what you hear from new players. Figure Drawing says, "If I was the Nintendo Emperor, I'd gather a team of artists to make a new 2D sprite Metroid. Yes, it would take a while to make. I mean, even Super Metroid stands the test of time." Absolutely. He also says Super Metroid soundtrack is fire. Yes. Nate just wants Samus to start Fortnite dancing, basically, hitting the gritty. When you get on the elevator to the next area. Here we go. Matt says something really nice about the isolation, and that's something really nice about the isolation, and that's what kind of made the Metroid befriending Samus so special. Yes, for sure. Joey says, "I don't need it to handhold me or lead me, but I do need an occasional waypoint for or an easy to follow map." Yeah. And I've been seeing comments in my videos from people saying like, "Why did you struggle so much with the with the map in Metroid Prime, I think a lot of it is I end up moving my sticks in the wrong direction, and then I start to get like zoomed in or turned around, and I get frustrated, and then I leave, you know. Uh so that's but as I've been playing more of Prime Remastered recently, I've been I feel like I'm getting a bit more used to it. I've been having so much fun with Prime Remastered, honestly. Like, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Oh, in fact, quick plug. You guys, n64josh.com/Amazon. I put together a holiday 2025 like holiday guide. It's got 100 like perfect gifts for anybody that is a Nintendo gamer. So um, maybe you have a parent that doesn't know what to get you. Send them to that list. You know, maybe you're wondering like this list includes things like uh, I recently picked up the Razer headphones, just like the I think they're like $40. They are on sale on Amazon right now. They're on that list. These things are so lightweight, and they sound really good for the price. The mic also sounds decent. So if you're playing, I'm using them on my Xbox for Fortnite, but uh, just because I just wanted an easy solution to just plug into my controller and be able to chat with Jasmine while we're playing. But I've tried them on my Switch. They sound great. So that list is up if anybody wants to check that out. n64josh.com/Amazon. You'll see the holiday 2025, and it does have all of the Black Friday games as well. So make sure you check that link on Friday, and you'll see all of the Black Friday sales as well for Nintendo. Back to chat here. Joey says, I have very limited gaming with life, with so many games, so I don't want to feel like I got nowhere in the 2 to 3 hour game session. Yeah, for sure. I feel that. That's real. Nate said, I wouldn't mind the help. I need reminders in games while having set it down for however long to actually do adulting, grass touching. Yeah, this is real. Army Life is here. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, that it can be a bit tough, and like Nate and I were talking too, it's like it's hard to like even search for where you're lost. Like if you're like, okay, wait, I'm stuck in Metroid Prime, how do you even search? You're like, wait, what did I do? Like, what item did I grab last? You almost have to just watch playthroughs all the way through until you're like, okay, this is kind of where I'm at. Like, to see if you're trying to remember what your objective was or whatever the case may be. So that is definitely real. Army Life, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. We are chatting Metroid Fusion. I want to get into. I just have the Wikipedia pulled up here with some of the just the behind the scenes a little bit and bit of the history. So Metroid Fusion is a 2002 action-adventure game developed by Nintendo for the Game Boy Advance. It is the fourth main installment in the Metroid franchise. Players control the bounty hunter Samus Aran, who investigates a space station infected with shape-shifting parasites known as X. Along with the GameCube game Metroid Prime, Fusion marked the return of the Metroid series after an 8-year hiatus following Super Metroid. Like previous Metroid games, Fusion is a side-scrolling game with platform jumping, shooting, and puzzle elements. It introduces mission-based progress that guides the player through certain areas. Fusion can be linked to Prime using the GameCube Game Boy Advance link cable to unlock additional content for Prime. Fusion was acclaimed for its gameplay, controls, graphics, and music, though it is shorter length and much more linear experience. It did receive some criticism. It received awards including Handheld Game of the Year from the Academy of Interactive Arts and Science, Best Game Boy Advance Adventure Game from IGN, Best Action Game on the Game Boy Advance from GameSpot, and it was released on the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console in 2011 as part of the 3DS Ambassador Program, the Wii U's Virtual Console in 2014, and the Nintendo Classics Service in 2023 at NSO. What a weird Nintendo Classics. That's what they're referring to as NSO in 2023. A sequel, Metroid Dread, was released in 2021 for the Nintendo Switch. So, Cryptic says, I have to disagree. I like exploring and finding out what to do. That's what makes Metroidvanias so fun. You change it too much and it's not the same game. How did you feel about Dread? Did you feel like they hit that sweet spot with that game where you were still exploring, but they kind of had waypoints? I feel like they kind of nailed it, honestly. Where Super Metroid had, and I remember getting stuck in Super Metroid, having to ask my buddy, like, yo, like, how do I, like, what do I do here? I'm super lost. And but I would also spend hours just trying to figure it out on my own. Like it's I don't remember the specific part, but I remember I did get stuck one time and I'm like, I feel like I've been everywhere. What do I do? I feel like I did this in Dread. One of the things I did with my second playthrough of Dread, though, is I wanted to figure out how to sequence break. And so I was looking everywhere, but I'm like, I had no idea. I finally had to look it up and saw that there was an enemy you could hit, because I wanted to do the Kraid battle with the morph ball. And so I'm like, I know this is possible. I saw it. What I found super interesting is my first playthrough of Dread, I did a sequence break because I got too stubborn and was trying to get I'm like, I can grab this ledge and morph ball into this area and I'm going to bypass a whole bunch of stuff. And I sat and tried until I finally did it. And so it was one of those instances where I sat and talked with Crawler about it. He's like, I didn't do that. I went down and did this and that. And then that was it, And so it was kind of cool to be able to basically talk about the game, but we had different experiences, which I love. So Cryptic says, I enjoyed Dread. Okay. Joey says, I get that, Cryptic, but at least give me a reminder what I was doing 3 days ago. Yeah, there's you will find as you play Fusion, it's pretty handholdy. Like if you were to go back to play Super Metroid without really knowing where stuff is at, I would imagine it'll be easy to get lost. One of the things I'm really looking for, I might make some kind of like community challenge or something, like a goal. And if we hit this goal, I have to play the first Metroid without any help, and I cannot end stream until I beat it. So that might be something that we do as kind of a, and I don't know. I've never beat the first Metroid game. I don't know where to go. So I know it's a game that can be beat in like 45 minutes if you know where everything's at, but I could be waiting forever. But I think it would be really fun, and I want to. I've been talking about wanting to do something where you have to play like the 80s, right? And I want to basically like no help, no Nintendo hotline, nothing, no websites, no walkthroughs. You just got to play it like the old days. And so I'll set up some kind of a challenge. Maybe what we'll do, I've been working towards, I want to get 100 members on YouTube. So maybe we'll do that. When we hit 100 members on YouTube, I will do a long play of Metroid on the NES, no help, and stream goes until I beat it. There we go. I hope I did not just 48 hours later, I'm still going. Hopefully that doesn't end up being the case, but there we go. So there's the challenge. When we hit 100 members on YouTube, we're doing a Metroid stream with no help. And again, I don't know that game at all. So that'll be super fun for me, honestly. I'm looking forward to getting back into Fusion here. And in fact, I picked up, I've got a GBA SP behind me on the shelf here. I picked it up. The first game I thought of was Metroid Fusion. Like the moment it's probably my top GBA game, honestly. It is a bit of a toss up because we did get Zero Mission as well, which is also fantastic, and and I loved it. Loved that one, like super good. But it's another one I don't really remember it. I played through it, like just went through it as quickly as I could, and then didn't it didn't really go back to it ever. So kind of fun getting to go back and experience some of these 2D games again. Fusion, here's what I'd say. One of the things Fusion does so well, it can actually be terrifying at times. It can be terrifying. And not like Resident Evil, not, but it does this, like the SAX is like a Terminator. It's like a Predator. Like it doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop, and you have to hide. You're not strong enough to fight it. And that's honestly what I did enjoy. It was like essentially the Nemesis system from Resident Evil, all the way back in a handheld. And I literally just saw I've been kind of deep diving a little bit of like Metroid's history and stuff recently, and I just saw one clip on Fusion where you have to like jump, morph ball, and then just sit and wait while the SAX comes in and then and leaves. And I was like, yo, I remember that. And I was like, this thing is it's what they did. It's basically the Emmys before the Emmys existed. Yes, exactly. Cryptic said SAX made you feel powerless. And isn't that such a crazy thing when you think about playing like a handheld game like this? It literally did make you feel powerless. You were like, I can't do anything. And the Emmys do the same thing. And little bit of a tangent, but like, do you think there's a chance that we see something like Emmys in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? I wonder if we end up seeing something like that, where there's certain areas that are not easy to get through because of something hunting us. I wonder if that'll be the case. I wonder how Silux plays into everything. If there's gonna be that element, because I loved the Emmys. There were times that it was like my heart was pumping, trying to get away. And I remember the same was true with the SAX. It's been a hot minute, like I said, but I remember that feeling of powerlessness. That's the best way of putting it for sure. So Joey said my adrenaline would rush when it chased me. Yeah, it's a bit of magic, honestly. In my mind, it's a little bit of magic, because how do we get that feeling from a handheld, sprite based game? But they did it. They did it well. And you guys have heard me talk at length. Like, I love the fact that it would unlock costumes in Metroid Prime. Being if you hooked up Fusion to your Game Boy and to your GameCube, I loved that kind of stuff. That was one of the things I was the most excited to do. Honestly, I was like, "Yo, I get to unlock a different costume, right?" So, Cryptic says, and they tried to replicate it in Metroid Prime with Dark Samus, but it didn't hit the same. Dread got there though. There is something, but there is something about your clone following you. Yeah, no question. No question. And I feel like, some of the areas where Fusion may have felt a bit weaker compared to Super Metroid, there are other things that it made up for. One of the things that's also very memorable, and you can see it from the picture I have on the screen here. You can see some of the enemies and stuff. The enemies were pretty memorable in this one. Things just seemed a bit darker. The boss fights, I do remember some of the bosses just being like like a little bit strange, a little bit creepier, and they just added to the overall feel of the game, which was great. I remember being super bummed that, like, you know, she was basically like fused to her suit, and that was now like kind of how she was gonna look forever. And then of course they fixed it with Dread, but it's still like, I remember it did not sit well with me. I was like, what do you mean? She's like basically an alien now. Like I did not love that aspect of the story. I was like, no, keep her just cool and in her suit, you know? And then of course she ended up losing the suit altogether with Zero Suit Samus. And those were fun missions and levels as well. So I'm I'm very excited to jump into this and to chat about it with you guys next week. Fusion sold over 1.6 million copies worldwide. In its debut week, it sold more than 100,000 units in North America. It finished the month of November in 2002 with 199,723 copies sold in the United States, for a total revenues of US $5,590,768, making it the third best-selling Game Boy Advance game that month. And the 10th best-selling game across all platforms. So that's crazy. Imagine Master Chief being this cool. Never. Wow. If so, I'll leave you guys with this because some of you may have seen it, some of you may not. But speaking of Master Chief, if you type Master Chief versus Samus, you're going to find an old video from one of the, I believe he was like an artist animator that went to go work with Red versus Blue. He unfortunately passed away. But he did a kind of like an anime style fight scene between Samus and Master Chief. It's really good. It's gonna look dated, right? It's like going back and watching the first Toy Story now. Like they look a little bit rough, but I believe it was that video or what, like maybe that video that helped him get hired with Red versus Blue, because it kind of like it went viral very early, like, you know, it may have been like right at the infancy of YouTube or something like that, but you won't regret checking it out. It's really, really cool. Cryptic says, funny how it sold well, but we didn't get a continuation until December 4th, 2025. Yeah, and I've been seeing so much about Dread. There's even, I don't know if you guys know this, but Dread is even hinted at in Metroid Prime 3. And so, or Dread, there you go, in 2022. Dread was like a code name for the longest time. And then it finally came to fruition. What's crazy is the more I talk about Dread, the more I want to play it yet again. And it's part of the reason I'm so confused on why this series doesn't do better. I rarely play a game more than once, and I played Dread twice on my Switch. I used to play Super Metroid over and over again. By the time, 2002, I had already had kids, and so like I don't really feel like I had that luxury just to play the same game over and over. But as a kid, Super Metroid was like, it was my jam. That and Super Mario World, like I loved those games. Throw in some fighting games too, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, that kind of stuff. It was they were right up there. But I hope more people get into this series. If you're listening to this and you've never played Metroid and you've got NSO, at the very least try Super Metroid. If you've got the expansion, play Metroid. Like Metroid Fusion is probably the easiest one to say, hey, start getting into the series. And even if you have to use help to get through Super Metroid, it's worth it. The final boss fight and the way it can tell story without any dialogue, Like it was literally the first game I had an emotional response to, and was just like, this is crazy. Like the story pulled me in so much, and the things that happened from the beginning of Super Metroid to the very end. And they do a great job of showing you like what happened at the end of 2, and then um and it's just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So I'm really excited. If you guys are going to be trying Metroid Fusion for the first time, it's going to be a lot of fun. And can't wait to hear from you guys and see the conversations in Discord. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So Joey says, I agree. Metroid Fusion was very fun. I'm looking to dive deep in Metroid Prime 4. Cryptic says, maybe it's because when you think of Nintendo, it's colorful and cheerful, but Metroid's tone are a bit darker. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but fire up Super Metroid, and there's bodies on the floor. Like, this is not Mario at this point, you know? Like, there are literal bodies just laying on the floor, scientists just laying on the floor, and you're like, this is different. You come across another body in Super Metroid, and it's got these like bugs all over it. Just kind of, you just assume it's getting eaten, and you're like, who was this? Like, what is going on here? Who was this character? You know, it was just a different, you know. And then you throw a link to the past in there as well, and you've just got like, if you were a kid in the 90s and you had Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario World, yo, you were in good shape. You were in good shape as a gamer. That was peak. It was absolute peak. Like, I loved it. So really excited to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. Jump in, play for a few hours. You know, it's not a super long game. And just see how far you can make it. It really is worth it. You will enjoy it. I guarantee it. So I will say this: I'm not one of the lucky ones that was in the ambassador program, so I do not have this game on my 3DS. I wish I did, but I do not. So appreciate you guys hanging out, chatting with me, listening after the fact. Y'all are amazing, and as always, play it loud.